again, gets a 2-point conversion. Oh my gosh, everything is over. But wait, Brett Gilmore's upset. Why is he upset? Illegal receiver downfield, ineligible man, no Travis Beckham, the All-American tight end. Michigan fans were somewhat pleased with that call. Wisconsin fans a little bit upset. And take a look, he's lined up on the line of scrimmage. That means you're not an eligible receiver in college football. When they try it again, nada. Michigan holds on to win. They celebrate with their fans, singing victory. Even Rich Rod was in that big mob over there. 27-25, Michigan knocks off the number 9 team in the nation. And look at that, Michael Phelps still has 8 gold medals. Nope, P.J. Hill, no gold medals. And not 100 yards rushing, the big thing. I mean, P.J. Hill, one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, or so we are told. So, looking at the second half, I mean, overall, guys, what did we learn from this incredible comeback about this Michigan football team?
Well, you know what I think we learned, Michigan, Alex, is Michigan is still Michigan. They can still play with the best teams in the country, and they can still hold their own, and they can still move the ball effectively, and they can still play defense. So they may be struggling, they may be having a down year, but they can still play good football.
You know, I took you know, something really, I'm really excited out of this game. That's all I got out of it. I mean, I'm barely being able to articulate myself right now about how excited I am about this game. I feel like it's a sign of things to come. I mean, you keep seeing the repetition of the night and day between the first and second half. It's a perfect theme for this team. I mean, the one thing I see from this team is that we have heart. I mean, the heart.
Wait, no, Mike Hart plays for the Indianapolis Colts.
No. We have heart. As much heart as the Little Giants, actually.
As much as the Little Giants. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. But, you know, I don't think in Michigan football history, in the single day, has a group of 100,000 Michigan football fans gone from thinking about whether or not they were going to win another game in the season, sitting there with only one, folks. I mean, really, those are the conversations that people were having at halftime. And then later in the night, watching Illinois Penn State, trying to decide who they were rooting for, because, of course, Michigan is still thinking Big Ten title. Now, it wasn't all great, obviously. And one of the most curious things, I mean, the defense was solid throughout the game. I mean, they gave up those points, but those were set up by great field position and turnovers. But what about this streaky offense, Scott? I mean, when they catch fire, it's like nothing can stop them in the world. But when they're not clicking, I mean, it's awful.
Well, you know, Alice, they're so inexperienced. You look at Stephen Threet, redshirt freshman. You look at Sam McGuffey, freshman, Michael Shaw, Kevin Koger. I'm missing his name. The slot receiver. They're all freshmen.
Martavius Odoms.
Martavius Odoms, thank you. They're all freshmen. And the other thing is, the coordinators don't have too much trust in the freshmen right now, and they're moving along slowly. And I saw progression in the second half, but they're still trying to figure their way around the offense. And I think that's the main reason for their inexperience, Alex.
You know, I don't have that much to add to that, actually. Like, I feel like the offense just is going to be, it's a slow, progressive process that, you know, you're going to see the coaches working on it constantly. You're going to see these young guys, you know, coming together. And you did see progression. You saw people stepping up. You saw Brandon Miner with that huge run. Sam McGuffey taking it inside the tackles on a 3-yard touchdown run. Did you think we would hear that this year? Sam McGuffey, 3-yard touchdown run. I was pretty pumped. Inside the tackles. Right. I mean, I think we definitely saw progression, and I mean, even with the streakiness, it's something that the Kinks will work themselves out.
Okay, all right. Well, optimism here, rampant on Varsity Blue. Just 2 weeks after a loss to Notre Dame, looked like, boy, it was going to be a long season. All right. Well, looking forward now. I mean, we're going to have a big game against Illinois coming up here next weekend here at the Big House. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But what are the keys for this Michigan team, Andy, to be consistent? I mean, they need to play a full 48 minutes of football against some better teams. No disrespect to Wisconsin, but against there's some team in scarlet and gray. Probably gonna need to play a full 48 minutes against them.
You know, I'm not so sure about that. I feel like Wisconsin was a pretty good test. But besides that, moving forward anyway, I really think, I mean, our key problem here has been turnovers. We had 5 in the first half, you know, 0 in the second half, night and day, night and day. Once again, it's a common theme, recurring theme with this team. And that's the key to moving forward. We need to do some things to stop those. I don't know whether it's going to be disciplinary issues. I don't know how Rich Rod can take care of it, but I guess that's why we pay him.
Scott?
Yeah, you know, people kept saying, just wait for Michigan's offense to improve. They're going to improve. Well, you know what? We're 4 games into the year. It's time for them to improve and really step up and be the team that they should be able to be.
Right, well, improvement over 48 minutes would be just tremendous. We have to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the last 2 weeks of Michigan football, of college football outside of Michigan, because we missed out. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Varsity Blue. Alex Prasad, Scott Wagner, Andy Baena. We had a bye week along with the Michigan football team last week, so let's get you caught up on what happened in week 4. It was an eventful week in college football for sure. Let's go to the tapes. Let's check out what happened right now. Wrapping up, well, that's not the right video, but we're going to talk about it anyway. First, Terrell Pryor made his first start at Ohio State before, and it was, my friends, an epic start. I don't know exactly what you guys saw, but he had throws of 45 yards in the air, 40 yards in the air. He had runs of over 35 yards. Terrell Pryor just looked absolutely amazing in this game, and it was against Troy. You can give him that. It was against Troy, but boy, did he look good. Also that week, Central Michigan and Purdue played one of the best games that I've ever witnessed. I mean, I thought that the Motor City Bowl was between Central Michigan and Purdue.
Stellar. I was there.
Right. Where are you?
There too.
Okay,
I
that's
was there too.
That's right. That's right. I thought that was one of the best college football games I've ever seen.
I agree.
But they topped it again last week. I mean, it was amazing. They went back and forth in the last, 2 minutes of the game. Central took the lead with a 2-point conversion. They went for 2. They decided, nope, we don't want to tie Purdue. Right.
Mike Shanahan.
That's right. A Mike Shanahan technique. If you watched the Broncos Chargers a couple weeks ago, they go up by 1, and then Purdue on the next play, the first play from scrimmage, handoff goes for over 60 yards. Absolutely ridiculous. And then finally, of course, the best game of that day of week 4, LSU and Auburn. It was number 10 against number 6. Of course, Les Miles, a guy that some people wanted to coach the University of Michigan. I mean, there was 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. The LSU starter Andrew Hatch was knocked out of the game, and I'm sorry, Andrew Hatch. And one of the funniest football highlights you ever did see. I mean, he was knocked senseless, tripping over himself, dropping his mouth guard out of his mouth. I mean, it was scary, really. That's why I don't play football. But of course, LSU came home with the victory, and then finally, Notre Dame and Michigan State played, and Michigan State made Notre Dame just look silly, absolutely silly. And so, speaking of those things, we can move on to what happened just last week. We thought that 2007 was an absolutely ridiculous year that would never, ever be repeated with so many top teams being knocked off. But first on Thursday, I got a text message about 11 o'clock at night. I think I found someone that can beat USC from Scott Wagner, and it was the Oregon State Beavers, my friends. Oregon State. Hey, who saw that coming, guys? I don't think any of us here did. And then Georgia lost to Alabama. That's not so surprising. Alabama, number 9 team in the nation. But then Florida loses to Ole Miss. I haven't heard. I didn't know Ole Miss still had a football program after Eli Manning left. Guys, let's talk about just how topsy-turvy college football has come. And you've heard for 15, 20 years that scholarship limits. It's going to bring parity to college football. You're never ever going to have undefeated teams. I mean, is it really here, or is this 2-year stretch just an anomaly, Scott?
I think it's really here. I think you're seeing a lot of teams who can really challenge for the title. I think you have a lot of teams who are bringing in more talented recruits across the country. I really think that this is a trend that's going to continue, Andy.
I mean, you're definitely, right here we're talking about 2 of the games are SEC games. I mean, clearly that league is just beyond anybody else's league in the country. I'm just going to go out there on a limb and say that. The SEC.
Andy, our viewers can see that on ESPN. Let's come up with some new and creative.
I'll try. But, I mean, that's a trend that while in college football there might be a good amount of parity, definitely in the SEC there's even more. I mean, from top to bottom, that league is strong. I mean, Alabama beating Georgia was not that much of a stretch. And, you always have, like, a good upset in store for someone down there.
Right. I mean, and then you look at the polls now. I mean, what is that? 4 teams in the top 10 losing, picking up that loss. And, of course, everyone's saying now a 1-loss team is expected in the national championship game. Those teams in the non-BCS conferences, be darned. The Utahs and Boise States both undefeated right now, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about them as they beat up on their lesser conference opponents. But so who is number 1 now? I mean, you have Oklahoma, who is actually number 1 in the poll, but you also have Alabama that has a very good case.
Well, I mean, Alabama isn't even 2 in both polls. Actually, I think Missouri is in. No, I'm sorry. LSU is in the USA Today poll, and then Alabama's 4th with Missouri at number 3. So, I mean, I don't think that Alabama's a clear-cut number 2, but I'll put Oklahoma number 1 overall, I think, in my polls. And then I'll take LSU, Missouri, and Alabama. I like the USA Today poll better, actually.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting next couple of weeks, Alex, because you look at the top 5. You have Oklahoma, Alabama, LSU, Missouri,